everybody. Thank you very much for joining the Microsoft Technical Online Forum. I am Lucien Kong, and the technical specialist for Dynamic 365 platform for Hong Kong and Macau. And what I'm doing actually day by day is helping our customer to implement and also remove the roles blocker or the technical blocker to implement the Dynamic 365, including the Power Platform. So every day we see many questions from the customer about the compliance, about security, about the privacy of our dynamic platform, which is very common actually, because this is very important if we put our customer data or our important assets online and inside the Microsoft Cloud Service. So let me switch back to the PowerPoint slide today. So as what we say, I'm the technical specialist, and today's topic actually is about the compliance, privacy, and also security of Dynamics and Power Platform. So what we can talk about today is actually what is your data and how we manage your data in Dynamics 365. And very common question, where's your data, our geographical availability in different locations, and how we protect your data in different aspects, in compliance, in privacy and access control, in transparency, and also in security rate. So why we need to manage the data in D365? So nowadays, everybody knows that data is a crucial thing, and data is coming from everywhere. It can be from some IoT device, some signal, some of the social media, some of your Office Excel Word file, some of your whatever data source in OneDrive, in SharePoint, in everywhere. So this data actually initially or in first status is an isolated data. So how we connect it together become meaningful data to us. And this data become meaningful means that this is become a very critical data for us. We don't want to disclose to unauthorized persons. We want to protect our data. But we also want to access the data in a very easy way. And we also want to visualize the data in the way that we want to. And even we want to inject machine learning and AI to analyze our data to provide some perspective or insight that the human is not aware. In Dynamic 365, we are doing is actually we're trying to classify the data in 4 categories: customer data, your product data, your operation data, and your internal people data. So how we seeing in here is that a kind of data loop between different kind of data category. So we are injecting the product data to the data center, and we are consolidating your customer data, your operation data, your transactional data, like sales order, purchase order, production order, whatever transactional data. And we also are receiving the data from your internal staff and people. Everything put together, we hope that we can try to inject the AI, and also we can try to visualize the data to improve all this kind of area. Improve your product, getting the noise from your customer, improve your product, your quality, your design, getting the noise from your people, your internal people, improve the whole internal process, or getting the process data or the operation data into the system, and trying to engage your customer better to provide a better customer perspective and improve your sales figure. This is what we want to do in Dynamics and also our business application area. To do this, what we are providing actually is a major 8 application in different area covering most of the company operation, no matter you are big or small company. And this 8 application, including this traditional CRM and also ERP application. And all this application link to the same environment and interconnect together to give you a better visualization of your 360 degree of your customer profile, and also how your company is running. And not the last thing is also we are providing a kind of automate and customizable platform to enhance your user experience that we are not providing in this application. And this Power Platform is a visualized tool and also a very powerful automate tools that you can customize, you can make your own application that only fit to yourself. All right. So Dynamic 365, where we are actually on the top of the Azure, the whole Azure platform. Everyone knows that Azure is one of the largest infrastructure, data center infrastructure in the world actually, and invested by Microsoft. We have many things inject to Azure and also the data center, all the AI thing, all the data thing, and all the hardware, infrastructure, networking, everything is actually centralized in the Azure platform, including very famous your Azure Active Directory, a kind of identification you can use across the world actually. So everything is based on Azure, so we can leverage all the resources in Azure. On the top of Azure, actually, we have the Dynamic 365 and also Microsoft 365 like the Office system you are using. And this two system actually can also interact with the Power Platform to provide you the automation and also a customizable user experience. This is what the Microsoft Cloud providing up to this moment, including how we providing in Dynamic 365 we call a kind of business application. So in this Dynamic 365 and Power Platform, what we are seeing right now is we have different kind of application providers. We classify in a different kind of area. We call it a workload: the sales and marketing workload, the customer service, proactive customer service workload, field service, finance operation, commerce, this kind of different workload. Actually, what they are handling is your day-to-day operation transaction, or your sales transaction, or your customer conversation, or your signal from your IoT device, or your manufacturing, or your purchase transaction, and all your, if you are a retail customer, it's important is how you sell or your sales to B2C customer, or maybe B2B also. So this kind of transitional data will land into different application in Dynamics, and we are offering quite a fruitful footprint on the application right now, covering all the things that we are talking about, the transactional data. This is very traditional thing actually. It's not as a kind of ledger or whatever. This is the thing that's a foundation for a company to run or provide the business to your customer. But on top of this kind of foundation, actually, we always need to do something right now very important is how we can do the analyze or and how you can analyze this kind of transitional data or transactional data. So we are injecting a list of insight. Actually, starting from this year, we are trying to deploy all this kind of insight. So it's providing a kind of machine learning AI insight that you can visualize your data in different kind of perspective. And it can provide you some insight that's how you can do your business better, how you can serve your customer better, how you can improve your operation better. So this is all the thing we are trying to project to the Dynamic platform right now. So once we have transitional data, we have the insight. It's not the next thing, but in parallel, what we need to do is actually we need to provide the observation result actually. So we also have different kind of application or service providing for you and your business, for your business customer. So this kind of visualization, product visualization, maybe some AR, VR, remote assistant, also a kind of AR, VR, and also a kind of virtual reality tools that you can leverage and help you to do the observation. Last but not the least is what we call the Power Platform. We need to analyze, we need to automate, we need to customize, we need to be personalized to your customer experience. This is not the thing maybe we are not take into consideration on our application. So you can build your own apps through Power Platform. You can build your own application. You can build your automate process. You can use our AI builder to leverage the AI resources in a much more user-friendly way. So this is about the Power Platform. We have Power BI, Power Apps. We have the Automate. The old term is the Flow. We have Portal. We have AI Builder. All of this kind of workload or application actually is using the data. So how we can make the data safe and how we can make the data interconnect together without any issue or risk. The final thing is including your out of the standards application, including your custom application or third-party application. Everything is actually the data is linked to something we call kind of common data model. A schema that's a share across the world. Everyone is using the same schema. The D365 application, or even actually Oracle, SAP, Adobe, we are trying to align the people or the company outside Microsoft to use the same kind of schema or common data model. So we don't have any hesitate to disclose this kind of information and share together and build it together with a different company. Why we do is because we want to make the world more interconnected on the data perspective. And if we have the same common data model, we can communicate with SAP, with Adobe in a very fast way. We don't need to do the mapping or analysis or anything to do the interface right now. If we everything land to the common data model, and we have a schema. It doesn't mean that it's something you can use or it can help your business. So we are injecting the common data service, which leveraging the common data model. We use this schema put in place in the common data service. And common data service is the core one of the data source from all the business application we are talking about in Power Platform and also in D365. So we can say that all our application actually is communicate or store the data in a very standardized way. So if you use the field service application today, you have your customer master. Whenever you want to use the sales marketing or customer service application in Dynamics 365, you don't need to rebuild your customer master or duplicate your customer master or doing mapping with a very messy thing that you have thousands of fields need to be mapped between different apps. It's not necessary. You create the customer in field service. It would be a customer whenever you use the customer service or sales and marketing module. And even right now in F&O and also in the commerce module. Everything is actually linked to the same model. Everything is once you create your customer master with synchronized for a different application. So we only have one data source, and this one data source is the thing that we need to put into a very secure way. And we don't need to manage 10 database right now. We only need to manage one. So this is the pretty thing of the whole Dynamics framework. All right. So if we are talking about the common data model and service, so as we say, we can interconnect, mean that everything can be automated. All right. Another view of the data platform or the Dynamics landscape right now. So we have on the top left the whole dynamic family using the common data service. So if you are using the customer engagement application, mean the CRM side application together with the Power Platform application, everything is actually only have one database. It's a common data service and using the common data model in the common data service. So everything belongs to customer engagement Power Platform. They are communicate natively without any problem. For F&O, which is the third big ERP platform of Dynamics family. So it's not the database is not exactly the common data service, but it's enabled the deal right functionality already. So mean that you update the customer master or sales order in the Dynamics 365, it will write to the F&O database and the common data service together if you enable it. So it's a seamless integration and real-time integration. So you don't need to take care about the integration part. You only need to enable the function for it. Why we're doing this? Traditionally, F&O is for a big platform with their own schema and also functionality. So we cannot put everything into the common data service or common data model to make it too bulky. All right. So many ledger thing, traditional financial ledger thing is still existing only in Dynamics 365. But later on, according to the expand of the data model, I don't know, maybe it will be covered. The common data service will be completely cover the FNO schema. So all the thing actually we are doing in the common data service, as we say, that is also rely on the common data model, a common schema, and this common schema, the common schema also existing in our Azure Data Lakes. So everything can synchronize with the Azure Data Lakes by connector or whatever. So it's a seamless integration for all our Microsoft product, Power BI, the visualize tool, the reporting tools, BI reporting tool, Office, or Azure Data Service. Everything can read and write to the data lake. So this kind of platform making us a couple of hierarchy in different applications that's to manage your data. But all the thing, as we say, is the same data model. And all the thing can leverage the same source of connector to the outside world. We have 250 or 260 plus connector to all the outside world, not limited to only Microsoft product. Google, Google, Amazon, or SAP, Oracle, everything is we have the connector already. So this is how we visualize our landscape and how the data in our Dynamics family and Power Platform family. So as you can see, once you have deployed everything, the data inside the Dynamics or inside the common data service is very crucial for a company. You have everything into a single data source. And this making us very crucial and also very concerned about the data in this service. All right. So this is why we need to manage the data in the common data service or data lakes or Azure platform or inside Microsoft Power in a very serious manner. That's why we address in this session. So a very common question, understanding how we manage the data, how we keep the data. But the next question always is, where is my data? It's very common because some of the companies, some of the country have their own regulation. That's it's very important for them to know where's the data, and they have their regulation to control where to put their data. So for Microsoft, our current infrastructure actually existing right now is in 14 countries, covering the Asia Pacific, the Pacific region, the Europe, US, this kind of region. So you can select actually any data center you want in this 14 data center. Even you are a Hong Kong customer, you want to put in your data or your application in the US, it's possible actually. It's just up to you. But normally, for Hong Kong, for Greater China, we put data into location only. Mainly in Hong Kong ourselves, we have our Hong Kong local data center. And maybe if you are a free China-focused company, you can put into the China. We have 2 data centers in China, actually. So why we need to have a different kind of data center and how we manage our cloud actually. So we have 3 kind of cloud in Azure or in Microsoft. In kind of global clouds, if you want the latest function in the first page, global cloud is the selection for you. So where's the global clouds actually in North Asia, in Europe, and in Asia Pacific out of China. So if you are in Hong Kong, in Singapore, or in mainly Hong Kong, Singapore for Asia Pacific, actually you can enjoy the most updated service, which is shared by the global cloud service. So this is the best actually if you don't have any limitation or regulation you need to fulfill. But also there's a kind of we call go to local clouds. As you can see on the middle of here, Canada, South America, UK, France, India, Japan, Australia, wherever this kind of country, actually, they have their own regulation of their country that they are mandatory to have some regional specific requirement according to their data security or their cyber security law or whatever data protection law. So this kind of company, you can just say that we put into a global. You need to put into maybe a specific region, like some of the country like UK, you also need to mandatory to put into UK. This kind of local cloud is also existing in the local data center with a specific requirement. It's still sharing the same update set or frequency of update function according to the global cloud, but we are injecting very regional specific requirement according to what their legal requirement are in this country. So there's another cloud is similar to, we can say it's a private cloud. This kind of cloud, the last one is actually is because some key restriction or compliance. If you are in Hong Kong, China, we all know that China have their own cybersecurity law enforcement. So actually, as a foreigner or as a foreign company, you cannot build your data center and host the Chinese data, customer data in China. So you are mandated to use the infrastructure inside China, and they have a very serious documentation to tell you how you can build this data center and what you need to do to enforce in this data center. This kind of key restriction making Microsoft difficult to just ingest or copy the whole application or the whole data center design to this kind of region, like China or US or Germany. So what we can do is we need to build a different set of data center, different set of policy and rule, only specific for this kind of country. So like China, we are partnered with 21 in China to build our data center. The only drawback, for honest speaking, is actually because of this kind of regulation, we can't say that all the update function or update service in the global cloud or local cloud can inject to this specific cloud or data center. So this will be some delay because we need to complete the compliance with the legal requirement in that country, like China, before we can publish to the customer. So maybe you have some function in global cloud or local cloud in on January. In China, maybe you need to wait for another 2 or 3 months because we need to complete all the compliance requirements. So select the best offer for your company is the thing that you need to consider. Do you have a legal requirement on your company? You are doing business in China mainly, so put your data or the service in China cloud is the best offer to you. If you are a company, local company, sure that you select the local Hong Kong data center to enjoy the best latency and also update of the service. Okay. So we are only talking about cloud, and cloud is secure and enforced by many things by Microsoft. But there's some reason that we are encouraging the customer to move to cloud. One of the things for dynamic platforms, especially, is the one version policy. So on the cloud, we let you have an easy way to update and also let you have the most update version of your application. This is very important that's to improve the security also or to protect your data because everyone, if you're learning computer science or computer in your university, the first programming session, maybe the lecturer already tell you that bug is not the thing that you can remove. There's a limitation on our logic in human that we always during programming may ingest some of the bug in the coding. So we are trying our best to eliminate this kind of bug during the time. So keeping the application version most update is very important that you can remove this vulnerability or this kind of security risk to your data. So keeping one version is the thing that we need to do, and also we encourage, and also a kind of advantage in the cloud. So the other thing is actually about the money. You are on premise, you want to put your application on premise, you want to put your application on SaaS model. It's actually is a different kind of costing model. It's a OpEx or a CapEx. So if you want the on-premise, it's a CapEx model. You need to build your own infrastructure. You need to pay in advance before you use your system. But if this is a complete SaaS model, you can just project and also scale to what sizing you need on the cloud service. So you don't need to purchase a very expensive database server first. You can grow with your data. So initially, you may provision a very low configuration SQL or Dynamics 365 server or service for your testing, for development, for your project implementation. Once you have your production system, you have your production server or service provision into the SaaS model, that you no need to take care about all this kind of infrastructure thing. You don't need to pay in advance on this kind of hardware thing. You no need to set up your own backup, your data recovery, your data resilience, and also your HA solution yourself. Everything in the production is instant of Dynamics 365 or a Microsoft service is already included already. And this is just again one of the biggest infrastructure you can see in the world. The last but not the least is security and compliance. You build your own data center, you have your own server, the server hardening, the patching, the compliance, the process, the enforcement of the physical security of that server, everything you need to design, and everything is a kind of investment you need to put in place to secure your data. Any part of this kind of issue that you are not resolving or you are not tackling will be a kind of risk to your data. I can see or we can expect every company invest the same kind of money to do the same kind of security control and compliance into the system. So Microsoft do everything for you actually. So we invest a lot on this kind of security and compliance issue. We have our global security center to monitor everything. We have the standardized sets, a kind of global and international standardization put in place into our cloud service, which secure you and avoid you to expose to most of the risks we know in the world. All right, so this is why we encourage the customer leverage the Microsoft Cloud Service. The last topic today actually is a long topic about how Microsoft protect your data. There's 4 areas that's a kind of foundation principle for us to provide a kind of trust service for you in case of compliance, in case of privacy and control, in case of transparency, and in case of security. This is the foundation that Microsoft provide to our customer that's build a kind of trusted service. To ensure that a kind of trusted account to our customer, we have a list of commitment. We ensure our security, physical, logical security of your data and our infrastructure. We provide all the resilience, we provide all the high availability technology in our infrastructure. And we are preventing the cyber criminals in this kind of area. So we have the global cyber security team, which enforce and also overlook the whole global infrastructure and actually global scenario or threatening in this kind of area. To prevent it, defend is for you. And we are responsible the governance of your access to your data. Actually, everything is encrypted in our cloud. It's not the thing that our backend engine can just go into the database, get your data, read it, and use it in another way. And to protect you, actually, it's important. Provide you the freedom, also another kind of important thing. So we are not saying that you're using our cloud service, it is secure, and you should not bring everything out of our cloud service. If you want to do integration, you want to copy your data, just feel free to do it. And the last thing is we are trying to protect the personal privacy also. Enforcing the GDPR is one of the example we are doing. So about the compliance. So how we do the compliance actually is mainly we are trying to align with all the industry, global or specific regulation or compliance policy in the world. And we have a team that's worked together with every global expertise to build the compliance and standardization of the industry. So what we are offering actually, this is just part of the offering. Some of the very commonly asked compliance requirement like ISO 27001, SOC, and for us it's very important. It's about the government, the China government regional requirement, the GB requirement. And also, if you're doing business with your people, GDPR is a very important compliant thing that you need to do. Everything actually is already done in by Microsoft. We built into our process and we built into our system already. So one of the example here is out of the infrastructure, out of the policy, we also trying to comply on the business process in here. We are injecting a new process and function in our financial and operation system application about the revenue reconciliation. Revenue recognition is actually you bill your customer in a big volume of money. Maybe you want to distribute your revenue into different periods. So this is an accounting regulation, a kind of new accounting regulation. Some example, just like Tesla, you buy a Tesla, very expensive Model S, you pay the whole money to Tesla, but Tesla don't want to recognize the revenues from what you pay on the first day, because maybe 3 years later they need to you return the cars, they need to repay you 80% of their value, something like that. So they want to recognize the money they not the first and recognize the money later. So this is an accounting requirement. So we have a new function, revenue reconciliation, starting from end of last year, inject to the F&O. And this is just one of example that's out of policy, out of security control. We also very care about the business process in Dynamic. So the certification and audit report, everything you can see online, and you can see a list in here. And the next topic about the transparency, we will also have a look on the service trust demo. So let me switch to another screen. About the service trust center, just take 2 minutes to show it to everybody. So this is about the service trust center of Microsoft. Actually, there's a service trust portal and there's a Microsoft Trust Center. Two things actually have some duplicate, but Trust Center is more about the solution that we offer. Trust portal, service trust portal is about the compliance thing. So you can see that on the trust portal, you can get all the audit report and also all the things that's in this trust portal. You want to see the audit report, you want to see the compliance blueprint or whatever data protection or policy, you can just click on this and get this from this portal. So Microsoft is trying to keep everything transparency to our customer. That's you can use it, you can feel free to enjoy it or whatever actually. So some common thing like the ISO report, the PCI report, PCI DSS report, SOC report, you can see. And it's already covered Azure Dynamics platform and also other online service always for this kind of assessment and kind of third-party audit assessment or reporting assessment. So you can see everything is already in here. You can feel free to download, and we are trying to keep this transparency and up to date to our customer always. So you can even put, if you want, you can even put this kind of thing into your library. Then every day you can just go back to your library to see whatever you have. So sure that you need to have a Microsoft account yourself and sign into the system to save to the library. So this is the Service Trust Center. And for all the documentation, you can see in this Trust Center portal. And for the Trust Center, actually, there's some of the duplication, but more on the offering that's a kind of solution. Like if you want to have a compliance manager, how you can engage with Microsoft, and a kind of a security solution. That's a kind of introduction in the Trust Center you can go to. And sure, there's the compliance offering, audit report, and also in here. As what we showed before, we are trying to grow our compliance offering to our customer. We are showing in the slide part of the compliance offering only, but in here you can see the full list in here. And this list is going to keep up to date. All right, let me just switch back to the PPT first. All right, so this is about the Trust Center or Service Trust Portal. So another common, very common or very frequently asked the question is, no one can say that the thing is 100% secure. It's always some risk or some incident will happening in the road that we don't expect. So in case the customer put the data into our Microsoft Cloud service, so in case of data breach or data leakage, how we will respond? Actually, in the Service Trust Center, we also have this documentation. You can find that's how we tackle the issue that's on the data breach. And we have defined the process to do it. Each of the data breach we identify, actually, we have a standard security incident response process engaging the whole virtual team with Microsoft. So we have engineer team to identify the root cause and the plan for recover your service. We have a Dynamics 365, very specific Dynamics team for incident response. So it will identify the affected customer according to the information provided by the engineering team. And this Dynamics incident response team is responsible to also communicate with another internal team we call Dynamics 365 Customer Experience Communication Team. So this team is a standard channel and single contact point for the customer to handle this kind of issue. And they will provide all the notification for the customer to understand what is the incident and what is the effect on their data and what is the action we already take by Microsoft to recover or secure your data, and what is the suggested action for the customer that need to do immediately or in future to enforce your security of data. All this kind of notification are delivered in no more than 72 hours, mean 3 days. So we need to control everything, build the report, and provide you the initial report response in 3 days. And this response is mainly sent to the tenant's administrator. So this is the very high level process description on database process. Ensure that in the back end, we have a much more complicated process to do the analysis and how to get all the data for you to describe your incident. All right. The next thing is about the privacy and access control of Dynamics. Privacy is very important because privacy is the thing that protects your data and control the access of your data. And this kind of privacy also related to your business continuity about the data service resilience, and also protect your copyrights or your IP. So in Dynamics, we have a commitment to our customer on how Microsoft will use your data and how to protect your privacy of the data. So your data will be used for operation, for troubleshoot, according to your permission grant to us during the issue happening. And in case of security issues, spam, malware, we will use your data for protection. But mainly we use the metadata only for this kind of area. We are not using your customer data. We will not read your customer email or telephone to do a kind of security protections for sure. And we are doing this during the service communication. That's as you engage with your service engineer to support your service. Maybe they will request you to provide access to your data source. Then we can troubleshoot the issue for you. We are very adjusting that we would not use your data for marketing, for advertisement, and we would not voluntarily disclose your data to any government authority. But sure that if the government authority provide the kind of legal support that we need to disclose the data, this is not the thing that we can reject. But we would not do it ourselves, or we would not do it in a kind of native way to the law agency. All right, for access control of Dynamics 365, actually there's a 5 level of access control. So starting from user authentication, authorization, data access, field level security, and compliance requirement. So the first layer, we say the user authentication, we mainly use the AD. Any identification technology in AD, it can be ingested to the Dynamics 365. And this is a kind of single sign-on security in the system. So you sign in to your Windows desktop. It's not necessary to sign in again to the Dynamics 365. Everything is seamless. And if you enable multi-factor authentication, it's already natively also inject to the 365. Authorization, actually, if you are doing the API integration or whatever, this is a kind of O2 authentication, O authentication 2.0, and it can be a kind of Active Directory authentication or CAN-based authentication also. It's always suggests that you don't use your user ID directly for this kind of authentication. So for the data access, actually, after the user identifier, which is the user of Dynamics 365, Dynamics 365 itself also have a very tight control on this user, what is the data they can access. Maybe this user can only access the sales data. Maybe this user only can access parcel of their customer data. It's all controlled by a kind of security role in the system of Dynamics 365. If you want to enforce some of the field security, and actually we have some of the field which is natively double encrypted, like the email address, the identification of the customer. This is a kind of field security which are already injected into Dynamics 365, encrypted on the database and encrypted also on the front end if you want to enable. Compliance, just as what we share, Dynamics 365 also will share the same base or foundation of a compliance offering from Azure. So we build on the same platform actually. So everything happening in Azure also happening in D365. All right, this is what we have on Dynamics 365 to sure, including we will lock your web for a kind of physical security. All right. So another thing about the privacy actually just as an example of the Power Platform in here that you can classify your data with different sensitivity. So if you are setting this report is a kind of a high security report or a kind of a highly confidence report, you do it, and this report only can be seen by parcel of the user. And this report cannot be copied, cannot be exported. It can be only visualized in the Power BI, which are helping you to protect your data and prevent an unauthorized copy of your data. Another example also in here, as we say, you can export the data for the low confidential report, but if this is a high confidential report, it will block the download of the data. So it protect your data source. The last thing actually is the security. The security actually what we are doing for Microsoft is actually every month we are blocking 5 billions of threats and we are scanning 470 billions of email and we are doing a kind of authentication of 630 billions, which is a very big number actually. And this of course all the device, all the brain page search and also protection. So how we can do this kind of protection? And this is a 4-step: discovery, classify, protection, and monitoring. And this is also aligned with what we shared before on the database process. That's when we have the database incident happening, we also go through this process to discover, to classify, to protect, and also to monitor the issue. And this is the thing that's also happening in different kind of device. All right. The last thing actually on the security, we have a different layer of the security in here. That's the physical layer on the security, which protect the physical infrastructure, actually the building, the service server, the data bearing device or delivery device is locked physically, and only authorized person can access physically to this kind of device. And for logical layer, actually, is all the solution we are injecting into the security of the Microsoft Cloud, including we have the global security center, we have DDoS protection, we have multiple tenancy to segregate your data from different customer. We have incident response process and incident response team, which is specific for your data, and we have a standardized process or procedure for you to secure your data during the security development lifecycle. If you are following what we're suggesting, and we always update this kind of process to align with the most updated scenario in the world. So this kind of logical thing will help you to secure your data actually. And on the top actually is what we are doing in the Azure authentication and also on the application layer, like the role-based security in the Dynamics 365 and also Power Platform. This kind of a layer security approach protects you from physical to logical to your customer layer control layer that's make your data, which is very secure in our data center or in our Azure data service. So Two very common question for dynamic 365. One is you say you're very secure, and on the application, how you encrypt your data in transit and how you encrypt your data at rest. So we are using very common and also our industry standards to encrypt all the communication or in transit of the data in the world. So everyone know that Azure natively is a kind of a public facing service through internet. So we encrypt everything by HTTPS, which is very common, and we also encrypt everything by during the transaction by SSL and TSL. And this is the thing that we are doing in the whole Dynamics and also Power Platform family. And if we are talking about the end-tier protection, actually, according to if you have a look on the compliance offering or the audit report, we are on level 3 actually, level tier 3 actually, it's application encryption and security. For data at rest, mainly mean the data in the database or in the storage or in the backup. Actually, everything is encrypted, we can say. We have no database or no backup, which is just a kind of free test or everyone can access. Everything is encrypted, everything is automated. All the process is hand-free actually. We don't have a human in between. We don't have a man in between to handle this kind of process. And if you want to encrypt your data in a better ways or more secure way, we also have a roadmap to provide you the column level security. You can set up which column you want to secure. And what we are doing today actually is many different kind of partner drive solution. If you want to do a better encryption, and this kind of product solution will help you to encrypt in a better way if you think that the SQL level database encryption is not enough for you. So this is about the data as well. So at the end, what we can say is actually, as a kind of conclusion, Microsoft Cloud Service is trying to provide a kind of foundation for your digital transformation. No matter on the cloud service, we provide global cloud, local cloud, aligned with your local regulation policy or requirement. So you can select what the cloud service you want to. And on the data resilience, we do everything for you already about how we can secure your data in the system, how the data center is working as a secure way, how we isolate the network. Everything is we done for you on infrastructure perspective. And the last thing, I don't think anyone or any company outside Microsoft and Google can provide this kind of security and compliance requirements that fulfill everything in the world in the security industry standards or global standards. We have a list of compliance and security offering. You can check on the Trust Data Center or Service Trust portal. So thank you very much for today. By the end, if you have any question or anything, you can just type on the chat window, and we are very welcome for your question and very happy to answer your question. All right. Thank you very much, and talk to you later. Bye-bye.